I have many, many pictures, but I decided to just bring this. My sister and myself, I was 15 here. That was the time when I said goodbye to my parents. They never saw them again. And I do not have any papers. Everything's in my head. When I begin to speak, it just opens up, just like you open a computer. So when the war broke, I don't know how much you all know about World War II, but I'm not going to give you the history about the World War II. I'm just telling you my story where I survived. When the war broke out, 1939, remember, 1939 war broke out, the Germans marching to Poland. I was at the time just 11 years old. And it was a very scary time because they marched in with planes. We didn't even know about these things. 1939, the Germany, they were much more advanced than anybody else. So it was very scary to see them to come. They were all wearing those uniforms, German uniforms, and it was the Hakenkreuz. You know what this is represent the German Nazis. So in the beginning things were okay. But let me just tell you quickly about the way Poland for us, for me and my three sisters. I came from a family of three sisters. I was the youngest. And before the war, I went to school, and I liked school, but sometimes I didn't. My older sister was the most conscientious. My father always said, you know, she always said, I'm not worried this one, but myself. She will survive. For some reason, my father had a lot of trust in me. So I was going to school, but my father, exceptionally brilliant man. I always talk about my father. We are here, my two sisters and myself, we survived because of my father. He had the foresight, he had the insight. He believed that the Germans, sooner or later, they're going to kill the Jews. But before the war, we didn't know about these things. Like I said, my father believed very much in education. He said the women have to be educated. Think about it. If my father would be alive right now, he probably would be 120 years old. He believes women have to be educated. Think about it. In those days, he was so much ahead of his time. So he was very much involved in our life, my father. Before the war, we had a factory when we manufactured soap factory. So my father and my mother were very working all the time, and my father was the one that was always very much involved in our lives. He made sure that we go to school. He made sure that we go to movies. I don't know how many of you know who Shirley Temple was. Well, I remember going to school, and she was like my idol. So we knew a lot about America. Everybody loved America. America was a dream. Everybody wanted to come to this country. And I remember when I was going to school, and I had the orange in the banana. Oh, she must be so rich. Because, you know, bananas don't grow in Poland. So life was not bad for us. My father believed that we should learn how to dance. Yeah, moving and swinging. Anyway, so life was not bad until when the Germans came marching. The first thing when they marched into Poland, they started with the Jews. They made sure that every Jew had a Star of David. You know, the symbol of the Star of David. I'm sure most of you know. So it was hard to be different because you had to be identified. You didn't have a name, but this tells you who you are. Schools were closed. We could not, no Jews go to school. Schools were closed. All the stores were closed. You couldn't go and buy food. It was almost impossible to live. And we lived in a place by name Lodz. Warsaw is the capital of Poland. Lodz is more like an industrial city. My father said, we have to leave this place. It's almost impossible because no place to go to buy food. Luckily, my mother had her parents living in a small village by the name Żarnów. My father said, let's take all our belongings and go to that place Żarnów. It's a small village, you're close to the farmers. It's always, you're away from a big city. So we took all our belongings and put them on like wagons. So we had about 2 or 3 wagons. On the wagons, we had only things that belonged to us, like our clothes, our tables, our bed. On the way to Germany, we were stopped by 2 people, one German and one Pole. German couldn't speak English, German, Polish. He says, what do you all have on that wagon? So my father said, oh, this is all our belongings. Oh, no, no. See, the Pole did not speak very well German. So the Pole he was translating. Everything what you have on that wagon doesn't belong to you anymore. Everything belonged to the German Reich, including you. They noticed that my father had a ring. Take off the ring. My father had a very difficult time taking it off. He said, well, we can do it for you. Took out the knife, ready to cut it, and start crying. And my sister on the other wagon, we start crying. My father somehow took off the ring, gave it to him. They confiscated everything that we had. Nothing. They took all the things that we had. Once when we arrived in Jarno, where my grandparents lived, we had nothing. But because my grandparents lived in Jarno, he was able to arrange for us that we had one room, it looked like a Lincoln cabin. In that one room, we lived there, all 5 of us. And my father and my mother were making soap. Because he still remembers, so in that one room we did all that stuff. So living there in Jarno, you're very close to the farmers. It was easy, and you were away from a big city. The cities were all, during the war, it's always bad in big cities. So my father and my mother, and we were helping making that soap. And the farmers from all around the area would come to buy this soap, exchange for food. So they'll bring us the grits. My mother used to always say, I am full of grits, because that's all we had. But there were many people coming, and there were rumors going around that sooner or later, the Germans going to eventually find out about the village, they're going to get to Żarnów too. The people didn't believe. My father did. My father, he never trusted the Germans. He reached out to many Poles. He came with an idea that the only way that we can survive is Christian. But in order to be a Christian, you have to have papers. He reached out to many people and gave them some rewards, paid them. They took all the money but never delivered the goods. Never. My father was devastated. He had no money. Look, if you don't have the money, what can you do? He thought that the people will deliver it. They did not. There was one Christian woman who was coming to visit us, and she herself had 2 daughters. She lived about 10 miles out of Żarnów, a very righteous, wonderful woman. She befriended us as a family, and she would come more than once a week just to see us. And my father told her how he's devastated, how much he wanted for us to have papers. That's the only way we could survive. The paper that tells you who you are, name. A name is important. But not for the Jews. Remember, you had the Star of David. This woman, when they came, obviously told my father, I have 2 birth certificates, not 3, but 2. Remember, there were 3 of us. So one day when she came, my father knew that she's coming with those papers. So my father took me separately and told me how to survive. My father gave me pointers how to survive. No matter what happened to you, don't ever reveal to anybody that you're a Jew. This is something that you have to keep it with you as long as you live. Because we didn't know how long the war was going to last. He kept repeating to me, repeat many, many times, say it again and again, Wanda Kazusek. My name was Halina Druckler. My name changed. I became Wanda Kazusek. I took the name from somebody else. There was a person like that. This was a person. There was not false papers, remember that. There was a real paper. She gave me paper for my own daughter. You know, even now when I think about it, I cannot believe it, that somebody could be so unselfish. My father had no money for her. From the goodness of her heart, she had 2 birth certificates. Remember, she had 2 daughters, but there were 3 of us. She refused to take my middle daughter. My middle daughter had always issues. She was always afraid, fears all the time. And you know, when you look at people, and you look at their eyes, you're confident, people don't think too much. But she was always walking like that. She was afraid to take it. Besides, she didn't have any more but two birth certificates. So the day when she came, that was on a Saturday, it was November, it was brutal, very, very cold. As you all know, Poland in Russia is not America. November is freezing, freezing. When you go outside, the wind is so strong, the wind pinches you on your cheeks. I remember at the time when she came to pick us up. Not only did she give us, think about it, not only did she give us the paper of her own daughters. I'm honest, when I think about it now, I can't believe that this actually happened. You hear many people, you know, they give you birth certificate or they take you somewhere. From her own daughters, I became Wanda Kazusek. Not only this, she came to pick us up. Came to pick us up. It was like on a Saturday night. And I said goodbye to my father and my mother. I knew that time that I would never see him again. That was the last time. I was 15. That was the last time. But my father and my mother said goodbye to me. He couldn't look at me and just walked into another room. He couldn't stop crying. And my father was a military man. He was not a man that would cry easily. But think about it, he sacrificed his life. He sacrificed his life, my father. The only thing he used to say all the time, I want my children to live. I want them to live. This was he didn't care. Once when he knew that we were safe, he didn't care what happened to him. But later on, the Nazis came to Żarnów, 1943. They came to Żarnów, evacuated everybody, and sent them to a camp. I don't know how many people know. The name of the camp is Treblinka. Look it up. Very few people survived the camp. Nobody from the village survived, except the 3 of us. The 3 sisters survived. Nobody else. Well, when she came to pick us up, she took us to her mother to Warsaw. Think of it. Not only did she give me her papers, she picked us up and took her to Warsaw where her mother lived. Never told her mother. She was 1 in a million. Honestly, I can't believe it myself when I think as I get older. I think about it. Who was she? Honestly, she was like an angel. She took us to her mother in Warsaw. Never told her mother they were Jews. No, nothing. Just told her, this is the young girls, get her papers to go to Germany. See, Germany was at war with Russia. And Russia was losing the war. And they needed people working on the farms, in the factories. So they send you a paper. You didn't have to go. But every Pole, young Pole got a paper, we need you to go to Germany. This is my excuse, I used to say. This is what she told her mother. You know, Wanda got the papers to go to Germany and didn't want to go. That's why she came to Warsaw. So we stayed with her mother. She left. Once when she knew, that woman, that we were safe, think about it. She went back home. Never told anybody. Not her husband, they would kill her. The family would kill her. Didn't tell anybody. Nobody except us. And she left. When we stayed in that Warsaw for about 2 weeks, it was okay. It was quiet there with the mother. The mother was not a very wealthy woman. We had to look for a job. One day the door knocked somebody at the door, my sister, the middle sister. I still don't know exactly how he was able to get the papers for her. When the 3 of us were together, that's trouble. 2 people, 1 person, okay, 3. All the neighbors. We live in a very big building in Warsaw, in big apartment. All the young people, like you especially, became suspicious. And they came, what are you all doing here? You must be a Jew. You must be a Jew. If you're not going to get the hell out of here, We're going to report you to the German commandantur, the German office. Trouble began when she came, my sister. So at that time, my sister said, you know, we can't stay here longer. And also the mother of Mrs. Kazusek. She said, maybe you she didn't know. She didn't know, but she kept on saying, you know, maybe you should get a job. My older sister, you know, we have to split. We can't stay together, because if you stay together, it's too many people suspicious. There are three of them. You know, you can get one person get away. Nobody looks up, pays attention. 2, 3 people, especially my sister, we had to split. So my older sister said to me, you have to go. Where are you going to go? She said to me, I said, I don't know where I'm going to go. I was 15. Think about every day was like a week. Every week was like a month. Because in that one day, so many different things happened, see? It was so long, everything. So I thought to myself, where can I go? I was 15. Well, maybe the best thing for me is go to a train station. It was, like I told you, very, very cold. I was wearing my coat that I had, and I had a little bag in my hand with some clothes. And I stay on a train station, and you see the train coming back. People come down, people go on. It was back in, I must stay at least 45 minutes looking at everybody who doesn't look too intelligent, too rich. I'm looking for somebody, a simple person, a plain looking people. I already had the brain. My father said always, I don't worry about her. She will survive. You know, it's something in you. You're born with certain thing in your life, you know, common sense. All of a sudden, I see a woman coming down. To me, she was 45. To me, I was 50. She was an older woman. She came down from the train station with a bundle in her hand. And I come up to her and start crying. Please take me in. I don't have anybody here. I am hungry. I'm cold. Can you take me in? Well, who are you? She says. Where is your father and your mother? You're only 15. Why aren't you with your parents? She started questioning me. I gave her the same story. I told her that I got papers to go to Germany, and I don't want to go. Can you take me in at least for 2 days? She said, look, I'm a widow. I'm a poor widow with one child. I'll take you for 2 or 3 days, but you can't stay longer. Anyway, I was grateful that she took me in. Anyway, she was a widow. She was a poor woman. A poor woman I would see middle of the night. She would cook like potatoes. I would get up in the morning, a potato, grab it and eat it like so she wouldn't see it. But she was kind too. She realized after 2 days I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything. One day she said, come in to me, Wanda, I got great news for you. I said, well, what's the news? I'm working, she said, for this Polish woman, a young couple. The guy is an engineer. They just got married. She was 24, he was 25. He got a very good job for the Germans. He doesn't collaborate with the Germans, but he transports food on the trucks. The German did not trust anybody, not with weapons. So the Poles had to live. So he had a very good job. This woman just got married. She's looking for somebody. And I thought, oh my God, what a job. I'm going to do this. I couldn't sleep all night. I was worrying. I thought to myself, well, she's going to ask so many questions. The questions, especially she's so intelligent and so rich. In the morning, I got up and went there, knocked at the door. I'm sorry I didn't I should have brought a picture of her. I knock at the door. She opens at the door. I never forget this in my whole life. They opened the door, and here stands a gorgeous woman. I was short. I was about 5 feet. I'm getting shorter now, but I was about 5'1" maybe. That woman standing in front of me, gorgeous, tall it's like a morning coat. And she says to me, what's your name? And I said, Wanda Kazusek. And what do you know how to do? She didn't ask me, what do you know? Do you know how to clean? Do you know how to cook? I said, yes, like this. She looked at me, and one thing I could never forget, her fingers were full of jewelry. She had always, I always had little fingers. I never forgot that thing. I always talk about it. Beautiful, gorgeous fingers, and all full of jewelry. I'm telling you, a stunning woman. She hired me on the spot. Think about it, how lucky I was. She hired me. And I worked for her. I was very grateful. We lived very close to the Jewish ghetto. Well, this ghetto, we lived very close to the walls. Think about it. Every day I would go to the market because we did not, the weather is so cold, the people didn't need the refrigeration. So I would go to the market every day. And every day I would pass by and I look at ghetto. Ghetto, they were completely isolated. A tremendous big building, and all, they were not wires. They were all buildings, big. That was Warsaw. Remember, the Warsaw ghetto was one of the biggest ghetto in Poland. It was all isolated, very big building, nothing around. And every day I would go to the market and I would pass the ghetto. I've seen it. And I've seen the people look in the windows. They would look like skeleton, looking at me with such an angry that I'm walking. I couldn't looking at them, couldn't do anything. I look at them because they were looking through the windows. See, the ghetto was very tall building, but there were windows, so they were able to see people outside. And every day when I saw these people there and broke my heart. So one day I'm walking home from the market. There are millions of people, 5-6 million people live in Warsaw. Think about it. I bumped into a woman, a Polish woman. They knew me from the little village. I never spoke to the woman. I never said anything to her. She could only see me when I used to come during the summertime when I went to visit my grandparents. When I saw her, look at millions of people. The timing. I look at him, my heart beat. I said, it's trouble, it's trouble. But I didn't think even that I was scared, but I didn't expect anything. 2-3 days later, I come into my house, open my door. We had a very beautiful, believe it or not, she had a gorgeous apartment. Beautiful apartment. I remember there was very long, like a hallway or corridor, whatever you call. I open the door and dark, but I see 2 people, one in a trench coat and one Nazi. And the Nazi stuck the gun into my back and escorted me into the living room where she was already sitting. And he was talking to her. She very intelligent. She belonged to the aristocracy of Poland. And she spoke to she was not involved. She spoke to the German. She had a beautiful baby grand piano. She was talking to him in German, and the Pole was interrogating me. The first thing was he asked him, "What's your name?" I said, "Wanda Kazusek." "What do you do here?" You know, the same thing I told them. I got the papers. "How often you go to church?" "You go to church." I said, "Yes." "Well, how often?" I said, "Every week." "What do you do when you go to church?" I said, "I pray." "Tell me the prayers." Well, he was real mean. He was so mean. He was worse than the German, believe it or not, the way he interrogated me. "Say the prayers." I did. "Tell me, do you ever go to communion?" That's what he got me. I knew the prayers. I didn't know about the communion. How old do you have to be when you go to communion? Remember, Poland is all Christians. They're all Catholic, remember that. There's no other ethnic groups. Then I didn't know. "Tell me, what does the priest do to you? Does he give you something to eat? Does he give you something to drink?" I didn't know. I didn't know. And I was so nervous. I knew this is the end of me. This is the end of me. Every kid that is 7 years old when they got communion, they know what the priest does. And I didn't know. Does the priest give you bread and wine to drink? I said, yes. I didn't know. And I was so mixed up, and I knew that's the end of me. So I said, yes. When he had me, tell you, I'll never forget. Get up like this. You're a Jew, and you know what we do to the Jewish people. You're going to be shot. Think about that many years. I remember just like I'm standing in front of me. Like he said, get up. I got up. Get up. You coming with me. And you know what you're going to be shot. She got up. She got up. Wait a minute, she says, I know this kid. She's been working for about 2 years. Vanda, go in the kitchen. Show them your papers from your mother. See, I had to show something to her so she wouldn't be suspicious. So meanwhile, I got in touch with my sister. And my sister write letters to me, my dear daughter. I miss you so much. Tell me, I love you. Call me, not call me, but I want to see you. I had to show her something. Vanda, go show her your letters. I went in the kitchen, show her. I got a little bedroom near the kitchen. So she said, show him the letters. I've shown the letters. He was not convinced. He was not convinced. She took all her jewelry, put it on the paper. I guarantee that the child is not a Jew. They believed her. Because anybody that was non-Jew, yes, would keep or hide a Jew, would be sent to a concentration camp. You're doing something against the law. She was so convinced that I was not a Jew. Think about it. Put all the Jew, they believed it. And the one thing when they got up, Paul said to me, we're going to write to your parents, to Kazusek, if they're going to be another Vanda, this is exactly what they said to me. We know where to find you. This is exactly what he said. We know where to find you. And they left. I have to tell you, every time somebody knocked at the door, I thought they're coming after me. My sister said to me, she used to come to visit me. I live in Warsaw, she lived about 10 miles out of Warsaw. She always liked to come to a big city. I didn't want to go where she lived. She said to me, you know, Vanda, if I were you, I would leave the place. They're going to come. I said, you know, I have no place to go. I'm taking a chance. I never left. And they never came. But when her mother came, she was the only child. When her mother came, mother was very anti-Semitic, mother. If I would have been here and I heard Vanda what she said, the mother said, she's a Jew, take her away, the mother. Think about it. I'll tell you something else later. Anyway, they left, but think about it. She saved my life. She saved my life, but I'm going to tell you something about her now. You know that we live across the Warsaw Ghetto, yes? The Jewish people that live in the ghetto, the young people, said we're going to die anyway. They made an uprising. You know what uprising is? You all know what uprising. They made an uprising. They were young. There was a young man by name Yalenevich. He was 27 years old. He said, we're going to die anyway. Let's die as heroes. They made their own ammunition. Their uprising lasted for 2 months. Every time the German drove into the ghetto, explosion. You couldn't defeat Germany. They was powerful. They came with the planes, they came with the tanks, destroyed the whole ghetto. Since we live so close to the ghetto, the flames from the building, all night long, you could see the flames coming from the ghetto. Everybody that lived in our apartment building came out. We wanted to see what happens. We were afraid that the flames were going to hit our place. I'm staying outside with me and the three of us, and looking at the flames and hearing the weeping and the screaming of the dying people. The Germans, the Nazis realized the children were hiding in the basement, the diamond in the basement. So you could hear the weeping. It was so powerful. I started crying, and this is what she said to me. Vanda, why are you crying? Just like that. Why are you crying? Because I feel sorry for them. They're dying there. And this is the God truth. I shouldn't have told you many times. I don't want to repeat this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. When I said to her, are you crying? She put her arms closer to me. Vanda, I feel sorry for them as human beings. But as Jews, let them burn. This is the God truth. I tell you, so I want to see nothing but good things about my grandchildren. That's not a lie. That's what she said. Let them burn. It's human being. She's so sorry. And this is highly intelligent woman. She had everything. She had a beautiful home, even though she was a poor, but she was able to have all that. Married, very happily married to her husband. Why did she hate? Where does the hate, where did it come from? Why? She didn't know these people. How can you hate somebody that you don't know? Such a powerful statement. But you know, it really, I feel so bad. I feel like somebody put a knife in my back. But I don't have hate. Even though he said that, but I couldn't hate her. I still love her. I have to tell you, I love the woman. She was very good to me. She always used to say to me, remember that I worked for a long time. Vanda, when the war is going to be over, I want to send you to school. Whenever she has parties, she always invited, she always introduced me to everybody. This is Vanda. She was so proud having me there, and she really liked me, and I love this woman, honest to God. I wanted to be like her. Look, when you're 15, you don't know who you are, really. And I look up to her. And she made such a horrible statement. What do you think? Did she know that I was a Jew only because of the goodness of her heart did she save me? What do you think? I'm asking you guys, or you too. Do you think because she cared about me, that's why she saved me? Or she didn't know? What do you think? You say it, honey.
I think she saved her from the goodness of your heart, of her heart.
You're wrong, honey. You're wrong. I'm sorry to disappoint you. If she knew that I was a Jew, she wouldn't keep it 1 second. Think about it. First of all, anybody that kept a Jew would have been sent to concentration camp. Secondly, she had a lot of hate. If she knew that I was a Jew, she would never keep me 1 second. Look at what she said. You know, usually I didn't want to say that to young people, but it's the truth. It's the truth, nothing but the truth. That's what she said. I feel sorry for them as human beings, but because he's a Jew, let him burn. What a horrible statement. How much hate that you have. The hate can destroy you. Look, if she hates you, she hates you, she hates everybody. She didn't keep me for a woman. The woman had a lot of hate, of course. But the reason is, why did she hate? Where does the hate coming from? Tell me. Does it because you learn in school? Do you learn at home? What do you think? Now, you tell me.
I think you learn it both from home and from school.
Absolutely.
From all the people you're around.
I agree with you. Think about her mother. Think about her mother, what her mother said. At the time when the Germans came in, the mother said, if I were here and heard what Vanda said, I would say, she's a Jew, take it away. It comes from home. Some comes from home, honey. When there is acceptance and there is loving at home, that's the way you grow up. But when you grow up, it's hate. Oh, I hate her. She's a Jew, or she's a black, or she's a Muslim. It begins at home. And I can tell you from my own experience, the way I feel about that. Yeah. And of course, you got a lot of influence in school and people know that. But look, I have never had hate. That's why I'm here standing talking to you. Because people have to know that hate is wrong and love is right. That you can never be happy when you hate people. You can't live as hate. And it's a long story from then on. But I think we don't have time. This is only the beginning. Trust me. This is a tremendous story. I was so lucky all through the war, I have to tell you. Look at this. The Germans came to get me. Here I'm standing and telling them story. Any kid, Christian child, 7 years old, knows the communion. I didn't. There was every reason for them to take me and kill me. Why I'm still here? It's amazing when I think. I think somebody raised your hand, yes? Who raised your hand? I think you did. No? Look, oh yeah, okay, go ahead. I want you to ask questions, honestly.
Was she happy?
Yeah, can you get up, honey, second? Yeah?
Was she happy?
That's a good question. Well, obviously, I was so young to, I don't know, to me, she had a husband. She had a husband, and she was happy with her husband. Uh, I don't know. She had a lot of hate. She had a hate, and like I said again, it comes from home. Uh, the mother was hating, obviously. The parents were divorced, her parents. She was not with her father. I was not that young, to get into how happy she was. But she seemed all right. Hate is hate. So I hope that you don't hate. But I have to tell you something, that after the Jews made that uprising, a year later, Polish people made an uprising. Polish people made the uprising. That uprising also lasted about 2 months. But the Poles were lucky because they had all the support from there was an army, Polish army, not emigrant, when the war started, they escaped to England. I don't know how many know about this. So they got a lot of help. But the Poles lost the war too. When the Germans came after the Polish uprising, they destroyed the whole Warsaw. Not the ghetto. The whole Warsaw was thrown to the ground. I was in that uprising. And I was very active because we were making papers every single day, and I used to go distribute the paper. Never revealed I was a Jew. Even toward the end, only when I came to the United States did I feel very free and open, secure. Then I told them who I was. Even in Poland after the war, I was liberated by the Russians. Remember that. Because Poland was liberated by the Russians. My husband was in several concentration camps. He was liberated by British. But his story is different. My husband is no longer here. He was in a concentration camp. I was never in a camp. So as far as talking about, I was lucky all through the war. I was lucky. I even worked for the German army, believe it or not. And they never knew that I was a Jew. And they were very nice to me too. I was working with the German army as a chef. There were 6 of us, 6 Polish girls. Remember when we all finished with Warsaw, they took, what's a long story, I better not go into, too long. It's gonna be another day. Too much, yeah.
You talk about not hating. You have a lot of reasons to hate, but what keeps you from hating?
Good question. Believe it or not, I always had some feelings for the underdog all my life, since I was that little. People always ask me that, were you always like that? I was always like that, honest to God. I just couldn't. I always had a love for people, always. I remember as a young girl, about 11 or 12, my father gave me a book, Uncle Tom's Cabin. You know that book? Uncle Tom's Cabin. You know about that, don't you, young man?
About what?
Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Well, when I read, when I was very young, before the war, it touched me so deeply because, in Poland, you didn't see black people. They're all white, remember that. That's why this country is so great, because we have all different ethnic groups. Over there was only one, the only white. So I never had the hate, I just couldn't. Even look at this woman, what she said. I still love this woman, I still loved her. Because she, first of all, not knowing, she saved my life. One time, but even all through the war, nobody ever raped me. Nobody ever hit me. Look how lucky I was. She's the only one that hit me. I went to visit my sister because she lived in a village, which I didn't like to go in a village. She used to come always to visit me. And when I went to visit her, I missed the train. But there was a curfew, 8 o'clock. Everybody had to be out in the street, except the German. And I missed the train. So when I missed the train, I had to go like from one building to another, hiding until I reached my apartment. Once when I came to my apartment, knocked at the door, she was at the door, crying. Where were you so long? My God, I was so worried about you. I thought something happened to you. What am I going to tell your father and your mother when you, after the war? on both sides, smacked me like that. I was not angry at her. Because I realized that she cared. She cared. I knew that. You know, you survive also in life through all your doings. Remember, nobody can hurt you more than you can hurt yourself. But I'm not talking about the war. I'm talking in general. You can hurt yourself the way you carry yourself all through the war. Listen, man, to be a Christian, it was not easy. There was nobody could tell a Jew like a Pole, not the German. You could fool a German. Oh yes, easy. Not the German. The way you talk, your body language, the way you move, and the way you speak. You Polish and be clear and pure. But we always live in a Christian neighborhood. I never spoke the language what they say Hebrew or Yiddish. My language was only Polish, so it was very clear. So nobody could tell. Like I said, no Pole could tell. So that's another thing. And also, it's you are your own person. You make your decision in your life. So obviously, I was lucky to be in the right place. I don't know. I can't say I made the decision when the woman made the decision for me and we gave me those papers. So it's a very deep question to ask yourself. So if you deep enough or smart yourself, I'm sure you are. So sometimes you just don't know. But I'm sure there must be God. There must be definitely God. The fact that I was able to survive, never was raped. I worked for the German army. They were all six Polish girls. Nobody knew to the last minute that I was a Jew. One night, working for the German army, what we did, we were working in the kitchen, and the chef, believe it or not, he was from Uzbekistan. You don't even know where it is. You know Uzbekistan? It's a part of Russia, no longer, yeah. There were a lot of Russians that hated the Germans. They liked the Germans. That guy did like, because Russia, they were occupied by the Russia, so they didn't like him. Anyway, he was the chef. Well, I have to tell you, one night we traveled by what do you call, not buses, by trucks. One time, the whole truck, the whole caravan stopped. Middle of the night, very high-ranking officer looked for women. Every person was raped, except me. That's a God truth. I was young, and all the German soldiers liked me. They told them, don't go into the room. They never came to my room. When I got in the morning, the girl that I was crazy about, a friend of mine that worked with, she was not the same, she was raped. Something, I was never raped. I was only hit one time by her. I was lucky, thank God. I can't say I'm lucky because I lost my whole family, everybody. Except the three of us survived, so we were lucky. We were lucky that we survived. Everybody told us we should have write a book and should have been done into a movie because three of us survived in different areas. My middle sister could not survive in Poland. She could only go to Germany. In Germany, she survived. Because German, like I told you, German could not tell a Jew. So that's the way, this is my story. It's a long story. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy to be with you all guys. I want you to remember that there was a war. There were 6 million Jews died. Remember that, and that's not a lie. 6 million, but remember, not all the victims were Jews. Remember that. There many Germans died. But not all victims were Jews. But Jews were all the victims. When you were a Jew, you were condemned to die. That's it. Just because you were born a Jew.
What was it like to be able to publicly be a Jew again? To not have to hide it?
Yeah, well, I was, like I said, only when I came. Remember, you could not come from Poland. I always wanted to come to America, remember. I didn't want to stay in Poland. Why would I? All the worst concentration camp were in Poland, remember that. Auschwitz, Treblinka. I didn't want to stay in Poland. I wanted to come to America. I wanted to be free. Many of them want to go to Israel. You know, the state of Israel. 1948, state of Israel was created. Many of them went to Israel, even though there was, at the time, still British were there. I wanted to come to America because my father, he had a sister here. But anyway, I forgot what you said. Oh, yeah.
What was it like once you were
Yeah.
able to publicly be a Jew again?
Here, when I
What was
came
it
to the
like?
Remember, when I came, when the war was over, I was in Poland. I was living by the Russian. So from Poland, you could not go directly to America. You had to go smuggle yourself. Russia did not let anybody out. So I was able, and two of my sisters were able to get out of Poland. We went to Germany. I lived in Germany for 3 years before we were able to come to the United States. It is not as easy now. Now anybody can come, anybody, which is not so good. You can come legally, like I came. I waited 3 years in Germany before we were able to come. They were so, what's the right word? Very particular. If you had something on your heart wasn't good, anything, you couldn't come. So it was very difficult time. So, like I said, 3 years. Even in Germany, I still call myself Banda. Always. Until I came to this country, I knew I can sleep well at night. Nobody's going to knock the door to come, you're a Jew. Yeah. But, you know, now, since I got older, I have to tell you, I was never too religious. I believe in God. But I was never too, like crazy religion. I was always in the middle. You know, that's the best way. The middle. Anyway, now I lost it. No, something you asked me to.
All right. I just.
Oh, yeah. But when I came to the United States, that was the best time, yeah. I was able to sleep at night. I wasn't worried somebody would knock at the door. Yeah, it's still, we all have other problems everywhere. But I still believe this is still the best country with all the problems we have. Because American people are good people. Look, I work for the Germans. The German people, they're very prejudiced. Even now, believe me, there's a lot of prejudice there. There's prejudice all over Europe, everywhere. Here too. But it's up to us. You young people have to make it better. When you see something wrong done to another person, stand up. Don't be a bystander, stand up. When you see somebody that's mistreated, get involved. It's important, honey. That's the only way we can survive as human beings. You can feel so much better about yourself when you help the other person. And as many schools that are talking, I'm not lying to you. I spoke all over the world, everywhere, all over the United States. You name it, New York, Florida, you name it. But I can tell you one thing, that we're all the same. We all want the same thing. The main thing is goodness. Have a good heart. Love people. This is why I survive. Because I love people, honestly. Even now, in the building where I live, everybody knows me. And if they know me, I'm not sure they know me. You can laugh now.
Amen.
Okay, so the question I wanted to ask was, what was the most difficult part about leading a double life? Like, you had your original name, and then you had the name that was given to you that you used to survive with. Did you ever want to tell anyone, that's not my name, I want to go back?
No, but I don't know, somehow I accepted it, honest to God. It was not that I had such a difficult time, maybe because I was young and because I like people and I realized that people really are the same everywhere. So it wasn't so bad, but it was better in America when I really identified myself who I was. But living as a Christian wasn't so bad either for me. Of course, I was always in fear that I couldn't be recognized. I did have the fears, yes. There's no question about it. It was a big relief. It was a relief once when I was young. When you're yourself, because you got to be yourself. Like I got a grandson that's 23 years old, just got into medical school. He graduated from Cornell, and it was very difficult to get into medical school. He's all the time here, Grandma, I don't like the way I look. I don't like this about himself. I said, be yourself. Be yourself, that's the best way. Because when you try to be somebody else, it would never work. You're not going to be happy, and people can tell. Be yourself, but do the right thing in your life. This is what I'm going to tell you from my own experience, no matter who you are. I'm a black, I'm proud to be black. I am Jew, proud to be a Jew. Don't hide it. Don't hide it, honey. And be happy. And you're going to feel better about you. People going to like you better. Because you're not lying. You yourself. Well, it's a difficult age, trust me, to be a teenager, any age, in any century where you live. It's not easy. Because you have to figure out who you are. Where do I belong? Do I belong who's head, belong here? So try to be yourself and do the right thing. And I say it again, hate is wrong, and love is right.
Amen.
Okay, can we take a picture with her over
Yes,
here?
thank you.
Thank you so much.
One thing you didn't do, guys, you did not give me a standing ovation. That's not.